Good evening and welcome to News Night. Tonight, Attorney General Godfred cares for opposition NDC, who are tearing into him over the ongoing ambulance procurement trial after the AG described the NDC's claims against him as lies and deception.
2 days when we started our cross-examination of the person who was spreading all those lies, you see how the matter is going. The case has come, as the president will say, case now turns to.
Instead of him demonstrating humility and apologizing to the people of this country, he's out there engaged in theatrics and sophisms. Who is telling a lie?
We have details plus hear from a legal practitioner on whether the Attorney General speaking about the testimony of a witness in an ongoing trial borders on misconduct. Also tonight, Tamale High Court orders Kabiru Mahama from holding himself as NPP candidate for Wale Wale as resolution talks break down nearly 6 months after the election. We'll get to hear from the aggrieved Dr. Kabiru, who is praying the case will be expedited.
The grant of such a relief interlocutory injunction will disadvantage me and will cause irreparable damage to my cause, as it were, in trying to represent the New Patriotic Party.
And as the Finance Ministry gears up to bail out customers of the banking sector cleanup, some victims of the financial sector reforms recount unnerving stories of how they had to sell their properties and take up low-paying jobs in order to survive.
I don't want to mention the specific, but trust me, my cash value could buy me as much as 5 containers. Then I have to sell my personal properties and so on to defray the cost.
And as of now that I'm speaking with you, 4 years down the line, I've not received any money.
And in our Festy Community series tonight, we're filling in on the struggles the residents of Sagnarugu face in their quest to have access to the priceless commodity.
This is the only water that we have. And it is dirty. During rainy season that we get it. And dry season, we don't have water.
If you come for delivery, there's no water for you to use.
And in business, government expects cedi to firmly stabilize against US dollar following deal with Eurobond holders.
And much later, Italy faces Croatia in a crucial encounter tonight in the Euros 2024. And don't forget that we are getting ready for Joy News Impact Makers Awards this weekend. We'll tell you more of that and more here on News Night. You may want to join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp 055-111-1997. I am Emefa Apau.
And my name is Evans Menta. And you're live here on News Night on Joy 99.7 FM.
And it's 5 days to the Joy News Impact Makers Awards at the Accra International Conference Center. You're welcome. Let's start off from the court. And Attorney General Godfred has been incurring the wrath of the NDC for describing the claims made against him by the opposition party as lies and deception.
Well, the AG is at the center of a storm following the release of a telephone conversation in which he's heard discussing the ongoing case with the third accused, Richard Jakba, which the NDC say was an attempt by the AG to get the accused to incriminate the minority leader, Dr. Kaysela Force.
Well, the recorded conversation and WhatsApp chats have since been admitted into evidence by the trial court. Well, speaking at a town hall meeting in the United Kingdom over the weekend, Godfred said the allegations made against him have all crumbled after the state cross-examined Richard Jakba in court. Listen.
So I'm saying that we should resist all the lies, deception, and deceit of the NDC. And indeed, that's their stock in trade. And I personally, I can attest to that. Yes, we've been around. We're in Ghana, and of course, we've been in UK. My brother who lives in London called me anxiously last time he entered a barber shop. And so, talking about the Attorney General. They didn't know that the Attorney General's brother was next in line for his head to be cut. And all that. So what's happening? This young gentleman that they admire and all that. But again, the lies, deception, and the deceit of the NDC was at work. Within a matter of 2 days, when we started our cross-examination of the person who was spreading all those lies, you see how the matter is going. The case has come, as the president will say, case now turns to. So indeed, we should resist the deception, lies, and NDC. They'll come with all kinds of presentation about every major action or step being taken by this government.
Well, that's the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfred there. But reacting to these comments, Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC, Eduji Tamaklo, who's also part of the legal team of the minority leader, Dr. Kaysela Force, in the ongoing trial, described the AG as engaging in theatrics instead of apologizing for his alleged misconduct. He first spoke on Joy News Today with Aisha Ibrahim. Listen.
Attorney General does not appear to appreciate the gravity that his misconduct has caused that revered office. I mean, you see, you would expect that at this critical moment, the Attorney General will be sober and would have a very deep sense of reflection. But you won't have any from him. This is an Attorney General who, from 1992, no judge, I repeat, no judge had reason to strongly advise an Attorney General on what he should do or what he should not do. Today, he has obtained the dubious distinction as that Attorney General who had to be advised by a sitting judge on what he should do. Instead of him demonstrating humility and apologizing to the people of this country, he's out there engaged in theatrics and sophism. Who is telling a lie?
What Richard Jakpa and the NDC are saying about him are palpable lies. That's what he's saying, and deception.
This is a man who has been in Ghana. He could not say that the voice that the NDC played, right, was a deception and that it was not his voice. He now goes to London, and what does he say? Blabbing? Look, Aisha, in court, when the lawyers for first accused decided to have the audio recording, right, tendered in evidence, the Attorney General, acting through the Director of Public Prosecution, raised up what was the basis of the objection. It has nothing to do with the fact that the content of the tape, right, or the recording is a lie. Rather, they were saying it wasn't relevant, insufficient foundation has not been laid, and that now, even listening to this carefully, and that the Attorney General was recorded in violation of his rights under Article 18.2. Now, this same man now goes to London and says it is a lie. What part is a lie? What is it that he has done under cross-examination against the claim made by Richard Jakpa? It's regrettable.
I want to bring in Bobby Bansing. Is a lawyer on the questions that have been raised about the propriety of the AG commenting on a live case in which he himself is prosecuting. Eduju Tamaklo also joins me right now as the Director of Legal for the NDC, also on the line with me. Let me start with Mr. Bansing. So we just had the AG there make categorical comments about, the cross-examination that, as you know, his department has been involved in since last week. You were a lawyer. Is that allowed?
Well, good evening, Evans. I think there's a very thin line between what the AG said and what my understanding is allowed in the context of a lawyer not making public comments, particularly to the media, in respect of a case that the lawyer is participating in. I think that we must note that the AG as a person is not on trial in that case. I think the judge, when one of her rulings on this matter, made it categorically clear that she does not have the jurisdiction to determine whether or not the Attorney General or a lawyer for that matter has misconducted himself or herself professionally or has acted unethically. We all know that there are appropriate forums for that issue to be ventilated. Now, the Attorney General is also the Minister of Justice, so he's also a political appointee. We cannot ignore the fact that the issue of the tape or the allegation made by Mr. Jakpa was first made public outside the courtroom by the NDC for obvious reasons. I'm struggling to, in terms of whether or not what the Attorney General said is ethical, I'm struggling to see how unethical it is. You can argue whether you think it is morally sound or not, but in terms of my understanding of the Legal Professions Act and the rules and ethics of the lawyers, because in the tape that you played, I did not hear him discussing the merits of the charges that have been laid against Mr. Jatta or Mr. Atofo.
Because you hear, for example, say that you've had the cross-examination in a few days since we started. The case not to assume.
I believe that it is in the context of the allegations that have been made against the Attorney General personally. I think that was what he meant. That is my understanding. I stand to be corrected. That according to him, according to the Attorney General, the lies that the NDC had said about him, because he said he can personally attest to that. That is what he said. So I do not think that he meant to say that the whole defense against the charge that is being prosecuted is what has, for lack of a better word, fallen flat.
But Bobby, if you consider that whether or not the cross-examination has been effective is a sole preserve of the judge, and the Attorney General makes a comment that in effect says we've been successful, and their case has been torn to shreds by our cross-examination. He's taking a place that is reserved for the judges,
Yes, Ivan, that is why I'm saying that my understanding of the tape that was played was that the Attorney General's comment is limited to the allegation against him as having attempted to interfere with the witness or the evidence or try to coach a witness that is being prosecuted. That is my understanding of his tape, not the entire case that is before the court in terms of the allegations or the criminal charges, because there is no charge before the court, or there is no allegation of whether or not the Attorney General has interfered with a prosecution. It's not. What I mean is that the Attorney General is not on trial before the court. So unless your position is that what the Attorney General, when he said the cross-examination has fallen flat, for lack of a better word, that the case of the Mr. Japa or the accused persons has fallen flat, then he meant the entire defense in respect of the whole case, the charges that have been brought. If that is your understanding of his statements, then you can say that because he is making public statements in respect of a matter that he is prosecuting, then he may have gone beyond the boundaries that is allowed for legal practitioners. But my understanding was he picked one aspect of the entire case, that aspect being the allegations made against him personally for attempting to interfere with the witness or trying to get a witness to assist the prosecution of another accused person, that's being the unethical allegations or conduct that has been levied against him. My understanding of his statement was that all those allegations were lies, and after he has cross-examined Mr. Japa in respect of only those allegations, the lies or the deceit, in his opinion, by the NDC and Mr. Japa have been found to be baseless. That is my understanding of his statement.
I mean, Eduji, I've heard you earlier raise questions about the Attorney General's pronouncements. Are you making a case for professional misconduct?
Evans, good evening and good evening to Bobby Banton. I think that sometimes let's revere the honor we have, even for our own selves. Ask Bobby, is there any other trial ongoing in this matter except the criminal trial? The said cross-examination that Godfred referenced, is it not in respect of the criminal matter? So where he sits in London and categorically says that atones you, when we all do know that the person who has the capacity, in fact, the skill set to make a determination as to whether the testimony is a lie or complete falsehood or untrue, is the judge. It's the judge. So what is Bobby talking about? Why can't we call a spade a spade? Ask my learned friend Bobby whether there is any other trial that is going on. The cross-examination, is it not in respect of the criminal trial? At the end of the day, it is not for the judge to evaluate the evidence offered in court and to make a determination whether a witness or accused person was testifying lied or peddled untruth, knowing the legal repercussion of peddling falsehood under oath. So why would Godfred allow the judge to come to that conclusion? And Bobby is there romanticizing this?
But
what is wrong with us?
But he's a political appointee, and the NDC went public
with has nothing to do with political appointment.
With the tape that attacks his reputation. He's on a political platform.
Evans, I beg you. Godfred makes a specific statement in relation to cross-examination. Is the cross-examination in respect of a professional misconduct inquiry? No. It is in respect of the criminal trial, live criminal trial before a sitting high court, a court of appeal judge with additional high court responsibilities. You see, Evans, let me make this point. It is regrettable that our Attorney General is not learning. Painfully so. Painfully so. Look, this is a major matter involving the number one law enforcement officer of the Republic. Like I stated earlier, what is required at this critical moment is sober reflection. In fact, in the wisdom of the judge, she strongly advised. You see, the accounts have a saying, Obanyansafo yebunebe yankanasem. You understand? Obanyansafo yebunebe yankanasem. A judge will hardly advise you if she hadn't seen certain things.
Well, this case is so running. I'm curious, will you bring this to the attention of the court?
Hello, Evans.
Yes.
Hello, Evans. Can you hear me?
I can, yes. Will you bring this to the attention of the court? Formally.
It's a team. It's a team. My worry is that I don't know how Godfred Adame came to the conclusion that testimony atones you. I don't know how he came to that conclusion. Because our responsibility as lawyers, he is for the prosecution, we are for the defense. Right? Our responsibility is to offer the evidence. It is the judge's responsibility at the end of the day to evaluate the evidence and make a determination whether the testimony so offered is false, is untrue, is a deception, or credible.
And
is a special skill set of the judge.
You made that point earlier. So you suggest that the team will consider whether or not
on live program saying that there's a thin line. Where is the thin line?
Yeah, I mean, just for clarity, you mentioned that this is a team effort. Are you saying that the team will consider whether or not to bring this formally before the judge?
No, I say, look, it's a team. At the end of the day, the team will make a determination. We are worried, right? My client, particularly the Honorable Ato Forsen, all this conspiracy from the words of Richard Jakpa, according to him, my client, the Honorable Minority Leader, Dr. Kesel Ato Forsen, is the target of a broader conspiracy. And in fact, if you listen to part of the testimony, he makes the point that they wanted a conviction by May because that is what allows for a by-election to happen. My client is deeply worried that the Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana can engage in such a conspiracy at the highest level in the House of a Justice of the Supreme Court. We are extremely worried. And you see, Evans, these things do not send a good signal, even to foreign investors.
Yeah, and
if it is the case, that our Attorney General can go to the House of Judges.
Yeah, some of the things you've mentioned are all before the court. And in the spirit of the point you made earlier, that the judge will be making an evaluation and coming to a conclusion, I believe we're allowed to play before the court. But let me quickly get Bobby, very quickly, in a minute. The comments that we've heard from the Attorney General, is it worth the judge taking a judicial notice of?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, first, I don't think the issue that you called me in respect of deals with the conversation that the Attorney General had with Mr. Jatta.
No, it has to do with what he said on the public political platform.
Because on that issue, I have made my position clear on your network that if I were the Attorney General and these issues came up, I will step aside for it to be investigated, right? The issue that we are discussing now is whether the statements made by the Attorney General in London are statements that you will consider as prejudicing the trial. And my position is that, and I cannot be forced to take anybody's position, is that if you listen carefully, devoid of any political lens or any emotions, the Attorney General was referring to the attacks against him. In any event, Evans, the cross-examination done by the Attorney General, not him, as in the Attorney General's office, the DPP, in respect of the text or the WhatsApp conversations of Mr. Japa had got nothing. We have not read any media reports in the last 2-3 sessions of the trial of the cross-examination making reference to the allegations that have been made, the charge sheet. It's all in respect of whether or not the Attorney General actually had these conversations, A, B, C, D, with Mr. Japa. And the Attorney General, who is also a Minister of Justice, the same way you have called my colleague, Mr. Edoji, in his capacity as Director of Legal, you did not introduce him as one of the, or you are calling him because he's one of the lawyers. You called him as Director of Legal. Now listen to this, Evans. As lawyers, we cannot discuss cases that we are personally involved in as lawyers in the media. You know that. I am sure that you know that. But you have Edoji explaining his position in that capacity. And so if he feels that he can explain or defend his action, his client's actions or inactions in the media, why won't any other person who is in that capacity as a lawyer say that personal allegations have been made against me, and after cross-examination, those allegations are lies? Because the judge, in her ruling, has said she does not have the jurisdiction to determine whether Attorney General's conduct was unethical. She has said that. And so if those who have proposed or the proponents of the fact that the Attorney General's conduct was unethical, which I have said that if I was the Attorney General, I will step aside for the right investigation, whatever to be done. If they do not go to the appropriate channels, maybe if they feel strongly, maybe they can try the General Legal Counsel.
Yeah, Bobby, thank you very much. That there's lawyer Bobby Bansing sharing his thoughts on the comments we've heard from the Attorney General at a forum where the MPP met with supporters in London. The Attorney General was addressing them. Quickly, I want to bring in Frank Davis, who's the chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Committee of the MPP. Joins us right now. Mr. Davis, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you. Good evening to television and viewers.
And I know there's a case you follow very closely. You've heard the Attorney General's comments on this matter. Yourself, you were one time the Greater Accra president of the bar. His comments on the effectiveness or otherwise of the cross-examination, is this one that borders on professional misconduct?
What is professional misconduct? You don't have to just jump and use words just because people are using them. But let me put the matter in very sharp context. I've listened carefully to Eduji, my very good friend, and I would sometimes urge him that when he is directly involved in a matter in court, he should refrain from coming on radio to talk, because what he is accusing Godfred, allegedly, the same thing he's doing. You ask him a specific question, then he drives himself into conversations which took place at Justice Kulendi's house. Is that what you asked him? If he is a lawyer conducting the trial, he's part of the team. I would urge him. He's my very, very good friend, and he knows it. I will urge him that he should refrain from making comments while the trial proceeds. He should let others do it. Even that is, if they want to comment, he should let other lawyers do it, not him. Because he's putting himself in the same position of the person he is accusing. But why? What is the problem? They have thrown mud, a lot of mud, calumny, cast aspersions, everything that they have to say about the conduct of the Attorney General. Some lawyers who are not even 6 years old at the bar call him a criminal, a reckless person. And this is something that ABG does not find wrong. What did the Attorney General say? After all that they did, all that cooked tape that they put in the public space, the Attorney General has brought other pieces of evidence to contradict what Japa put in the public space. What did he say? He says after the cross-examination of Japa, unless maybe you don't listen, I've listened to it 3 times, because I myself am cautious. He said what was put in the public domain by Japa after cross-examination, the lies have been exposed.
Isn't that a prerogative of a judge?
Maybe I would not make such a comment. I am not attorney general. But let's all bear in mind that his person has been so much spoiled in this matter. So if he has been able, in his own estimation, that the lies have been exposed, he was making a comment. And NDC, the judge is not bound to take the Attorney General's comment. So don't use that to whitewash the trial.
Mr. Davis, thank you very much. He's the chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of the MPP. I want to hear from you too. You've heard the lawyers on this particular matter. Share your thoughts with me, 055-11-11997.
And just before we bring in George, we are fit for business. It's time for us to bring in our Thirsty Communities feature for today, and access to clean water in several communities in the Sagnarugu municipality in the northern region is terribly low, with majority of residents relying on hand-dug wells and dams. The scarcity of water has compelled several residents to use any available water they find their hands on just to survive. Let's head to the area now.
The luxury that comes with living in the city is the social amenities that you get. But that cannot be said about residents of Taha, Bogoyele, and other surrounding communities in the Sanergu municipality.
Bogoyele, Paumo, and Taha are communities in the Sanergu municipality, which means they are in the heart of the northern region capital, Tamale. But the water they rely on, this muddy, brown, and not wholesome at all, but that is what they use for everyday activity.
The major source of water for these communities are dams, and that is even in the raining season. This muddy, milky water may look filthy to many, but for this community and several other communities, it is gold. For Latifa and her friends, it's a relief from walking long distance with the advent of the rains.
This is the only water that we have, and it is dirty. During rainy season that we get it, and dry season we don't have water.
A nurse at the Taha Health Center, Mohammed Walida, said even though the water is not fit for purpose, that is what the women bring when they are coming to the health center for delivery.
Yeah, we go through a lot, especially with the water crisis. My facility, for instance, if you come from delivery, there's no water for you to use, unless you ask them to go back to their home and bring water. And this is the only source of water they have.
For Mohammed Al-Hassan and his friends, this is where they come to drink water whenever they are playing and are thirsty.
Madam was playing, and drink the water.
The assemblyman for the area, Abdul Fattah Yahya, said even though there are pipelines in the area, the water does not flow.
Because if you trace to the Ghana Water Company, you realize that we have submitted no less than 3 separate letters to the Ghana Water Company Limited just to ensure that our pipeline water challenges are solved. But unfortunately, they've not been able to solve our water problem.
And the thirsty communities will be in your community pretty shortly, especially if you are out of Accra, because that's what we are focusing on, and we're bringing that to the attention of the world. Hopefully, we're going to get some interventions on some of these key communities across the country. It's still live here on News Night. When we return, we're bringing you what to look forward to in our Impact Makers Awards this Saturday. George Affairs here with Business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up, IMF gives blessings to deal reached between government and Eurobond holders on restructuring of more than $13 billion debt. And government is also expecting that this development could impact positively on the fortunes of the Ghana city. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Sintas Tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, IMF has given its blessings to the deal that government has reached with the Eurobond holders. Now, this was contained in the timesheet on the agreement that reached with these commercial creditors. There is more in the following report.
The term sheet revealed that the IMF staff have confirmed that the agreement in principle is in line or compatible with program parameters in the context of the IMF's second review of Ghana's 3-year program under the extended credit facility. This assessment will have to be officially confirmed before the next IMF board meeting this month for the approval of the second review. Based on the preliminary analysis, the Official Creditor Committee considered that this agreement in principle is a good basis for a consultation of the OCC members in order to provide promptly the collective assessment of the committee regarding the comparability of treatment principle.
And that is a business desk report. Meanwhile, government has proposed to these bondholders that they would actually forgo some $4.7 billion of their claims and provide cash flow of relief for approximately $4.4 billion during the IMF program. These concessions, the statement or the relief says that are given in constraints faced by Ghana and are essential to achieve the debt relief required to restore the sustainability to the country under the joint IMF program and the World Bank initiative. Now, government has indicated it's expecting the Ghana cedi to stabilize firmly against the US dollar in the coming days. The local currency has struggled to stabilize despite some development in the economy. Now, some analysts have argued that this delay was because of us reaching a deal with the Eurobond holders was a major factor. Now, this view is also shared by the Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amina, who signaled some major turning point for the local currency.
And wait until the announcement. The confidence in our economy is going to come back stronger because the world is no longer interested in investing in Ghana because of those debt restructuring. After tomorrow, it will be a different story. Watch the cedi to the dollar after tomorrow. I know you are interested in that story. Let's watch it and see. The confidence will come. The investors will return to Ghana. And the growth trajectory will even become clearer for all of us. So this election is an election for us to win. The NDC can no longer campaign on the economy. Our record is better than their record. On the size of the economy, we've done better than them. On per capita income, we've done better than them. On job creation, we've done better than them.
Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. Let's still stay on the economy and these debt restructuring because government has revised its end-of-year growth to 5%. Now, this is higher than the 3.2% projected for 2024. Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has been given more details on why government is optimistic about hitting this growth target for this year.
This economy will grow, and it will grow faster than everybody thinks. By the end of this year, we are supposed to grow at 3.2%. But I can tell you, we will grow at 5% or even more than 5%. This is because of the pragmatic policies we are implementing as a government.
Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam is the finance minister. Now, financial economist Professor Lord Mensah stated that he is not convinced about the assurances coming from government. He's therefore pushing for more details on this deal struck with the Eurobond holders.
How would the economy look like? Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. But as we speak now, we are not servicing our external debt, but we can see the exchange rate, the cedi depreciating against the dollar and all the other major currencies. So after, achieving this restructuring, where are we going to cuff the dollars? And I heard the finance minister talk about saving Ghana about 8 billion cedis. Why did you go in for debt restructuring? You went in for debt restructuring because you don't have the money. If you have the money to save, then why did you go in for debt restructuring and in some cases restricting and suspending external debt payment? So effectively, what it tells you is that we don't have, the dollars as it's supposed to be. So let's see the realities on the ground if we should resume, our debt payment after the restructuring. But like I said, the restructuring can only give us a signal that there's hope, but it doesn't transmit into reality.
Financial economist Professor Lord Mensah. Now, UK-Ghana Chamber of Commerce is asking government to do more in addressing challenges affecting the country's exchange rate regime. Now, Executive Director of the Chamber, Joba Chema, says that she is hopeful that this will boost trading activities of members and thereby stabilizing the local currency going forward. She spoke to Joy Business at the UK-Ghana Chamber of Commerce Hat and Flower Show.
just like any other business in Ghana, it's a tough economic environment for us, but we are hopeful. I mean, without going into details, the business sentiments are that, we've seen the cedi depreciate, there's exchange rate challenges for people that import equipment and other things from abroad, but we are very, very positive about things turning around. We are confident that things will turn around. And so we are looking forward to a better second half of the year.
Ajoba Chama is the Executive Director for the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans and MFR.
And this is your election headquarters. Election headquarters is always brought to you by Petrosol Clean Fuel in full quantity, CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, AICP and CIMA together as Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Breed Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development.
And tonight, the Tamale High Court has placed an injunction on Dr. Mahama Tia Kabiru, restraining him from holding himself as the elected parliamentary candidate of the New Patriotic Party for the Wale constituency in the Northeast region.
The ruling was delivered today by Justice Richard Kunyapao. Follows a challenge to the election results by the incumbent Member of Parliament, Hajia Raliba Zuwaratu, who is hoping to lead the party in that constituency again in the disputed January parliamentary primaries. Dr. Kabiru, who works as a Vice Presidential Special Advisor, secured 345 votes to Hajia's 338 votes. In other words, it was very close. The resolution talks between both parties broke down, forcing Hajia Lariba to resort to the courts. Dr. Kabiru, in an earlier interview, said the decision will affect his campaign in the constituency.
The High Court has spoken based on the facts as presented to them by the plaintiff. We've also submitted our defense as the first defendant in this matter. My lawyer argued forcefully that the grant of such a relief interlocutory injunction will disadvantage me and will cause irreparable damage to my cause, as it were, in trying to represent the New Patriotic Party in the upcoming parliamentary primaries. The judge, in his wisdom, felt like the status quo needed to be maintained, and he didn't want to alter that. He gave his reason to the effect that he doesn't want the plaintiff to be prejudiced in the event that the status quo, as it were, prima facie, I'm the candidate-elect, or I'm the parliamentary candidate-elect, but he doesn't want to disturb the status quo in the unlikely event or in the event the plaintiff had the case. So he was maintaining the status quo. So we are still reviewing the judgment. We've asked for a copy of the judgment. We would look at it, we'll look at the reasoning in extenso, and then we can advise ourselves thereof.
Let's bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Haruna Mohammed, joins us right now. Mr. Mohammed, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Very quickly, you have 5 months to go before the elections, and yet you don't have a settled candidate for that particular constituency.
Thank you very much, Eva. I say good evening to your choice, viewers and listeners. Yes, today we have heard that the court has ruled on the injunction that has been on our candidate for Wale constituency. We are an abiding party. We will look at the decision of the court, and then whatever we think that the legal party has going forward.
Apologies, terrible connection to him. We can hear him, but that's something we need to really get clarity about, as how the party plans to resolve this particular matter, because it's in court. Because, as you know, this injunction is pending the determination of the substantive case itself. And there's a very possibility that this may travel very close to the elections, and the party pursued an out-of-court arrangement that did not work. As we've been hearing tonight, the youth groups in the area, particularly supporting the party, have decided that they will be protesting in the wake of the decision of the court. So this is a very fluid situation there. Several moving parts for the party to deal with. Still in the election headquarters.
And we're hearing from Alan Kojo Tremanting this evening, and he's actually launched his Movement for Change. That's the Great Transformational Plan. That's the GTP, with a focus on reducing inflation, stabilizing the depreciating cedi, and maximizing agricultural productivity to help grow the economy.
Conduct a comprehensive financial and technical audit of port operations to identify and block revenue leakages at the ports, including but not limited to mechanisms to address trade misinvoicing and transfer pricing. Enhance the collection of rent tax, property tax, capital gains tax, investment income tax, and sale taxes. Review existing rates for road tolls and expand the application across various road networks.
That's Alan Chamantin. The other thing he said today is that he's going to abolish the import duties on all imported second-hand parts, and that's something that you like, considering that you're engaged in a fleet of Uber vehicles right now. Pardon? Let's quickly close this matter with Haruna Mohammed. We lost you briefly. I was interested to find out, how is the party planning to resolve this, considering that you have 5 months on election and you don't have a settled candidate? What are you going to do?
Yes, Evans, the party is looking at several options as to how to resolve this matter. But however, you know that the party is a national party and we believe in democracy. We believe in the rule of law. So once the pronouncement has been made by the court on a matter of injunction, the party will look at the necessary matters or issues that have been looked at by the judge, and this particular judgment that has been passed. You know that the substantive case is not something that has been looked at for now. It is a ruling that has been placed on him for him not to be carrying himself as the parliamentary candidate-elect for the Walewale constituency. So the party has instituted a number of measures to be looked at. Not far too long, you saw that this matter was referred to the party per the Director of Elections decisions to go to the court on the instructions of the party for us to look at it on outside court settlement. This is something that has not been able to be reached completely, but the party is on it. A 3-member committee has been set up, headed by the Chief of Staff, the General Secretary of our party, and the Chairman of the Council of Elders of the party. So this is something the party has put so much pressure on it, but this ruling that has come out is not something that is going to stop all these formalities that we have put it through to be able to resolve this matter.
So you're still pursuing an out-of-court settlement? You also pursue the out-of-court settlement?
For now, what the court has said is something that we have to look at, because the substantive case is yet to come before the court. The court is going to proceed to look at the substantive matter within the jurisdiction in which the case was presented to the court.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's Haruna Mohammed there. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Let's talk about something you're looking forward to. It's happening on Saturday. Question is, where will you be Saturday evening?
Here at the Accra International Conference Center, 1 out of the 10 nominees shortlisted will be crowned this year's Joy News Impact Maker. Well, we've been looking back on some of the winners from last year, a year after being recognized at the maiden edition. Richard Okun recounts that the award has shot him into a limelight he could have never attained on his own. Yes, what he's been telling us.
It's an honor to be selected and awarded, appreciating what you have done. That alone is a great honor. It's a feeling that in Ghana, at a particular point in time, in a very specific sector, you are the person that Joy News and others have chosen as the best so far within that particular sector. And I think it's a great honor.
A great honor indeed.
Yes, and we'll get the Joy News Impact Maker for this year at the Accra International Conference Center this Saturday. You want to make your way there, get ready, and let's go. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of Newsnight. We're getting ready for Italy versus Croatia in the Euros this evening, and we have live commentary. Musbao is here With the very latest.
Yes, looking forward to this one with Bao.
Yeah, big game. We're looking forward to it. Is the final game in that group. Italy need a win or a draw to qualify for Croatia. They are lying bottom of the table, and they need a win. They need a win. So we're going to wait to see how the game unfolds tonight here on your Superstation. We're going to bring you live commentary here, so do stay with us very, very shortly.
Okay.